Sunday worship, we was wrong. Paganism, leave it alone. I had drugs all in my home. We was selling to our own. Now there ain't no stopping me. No, the devil watching me. He can't rob me back to sleep. Y'all got me all in his wing. Used to slide about that green. Used to slide and make it sing. Killing that old man. Can't let the devil get up in between. You my brother, supposed to love you, supposed to help you when you struggle. Two or more in agreement. We got power when we double. Plead the blood of the lion when you in the time of trouble. Bet them angels come together like a gang. They gon' huddle. Man down, man down. Put that old man down. You can't trim him, gotta kill him. Put that old man down.
This week, the world got a frightening insight into what happens when you unleash the president without notes, an auto cue, or someone screaming instructions in his ear. You get this nonsensical word salad.
Tell me how you do that. I understand it. I mean, it's clear in its face. You're accurate. But how, in making the case of the freedom men have, what do you do to, other than to sort of embarrass men into getting into the argument and voting the right way on this issue?
Okay.
Book of Obadiah. I'm going to read I'm going to Book of Obadiah, chapter 1, 6 through 8. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of your confederacy have brought you even unto the border. The men that were at peace with you and have deceived you and have prevailed against you. They that eat your bread and have laid a wound under you. There is no understanding in him. Now, I want you to get this. America used to be in every nation, and everyone was pretty much America's friend or ally. But now these men who they used to be at peace with and broke bread with are laying wounds under them and snares and all of this. And if you see the European nation right now, they are pretty much, they're even turning on America with their rules and their laws. And if you notice how Putin cut the oil and the gas off, even to Europe, where you got nation against nation. And these people now are lining up for coal and gas. All of these things are happening because Bible prophecy is playing out. Esau, or Edom, has turned on his so-called friends, and now they're turning on him. Let me keep reading. It says 7, all the men of your confederacy have brought you even unto the border. The men that were at peace with you and have deceived you and prevailed against you. They that eat your bread and have laid a wound under you, and there is no understanding in him. Verse 8, shall I not in that day, says Yahuwah, even destroy the wise man out of Edom, and understanding out of the mouth of Esau.
Look what happens in this clip. It's quite sad, really. President Biden picks a journalist to ask a question before realizing he's not allowed to do that. He says, and I quote, I took control. I shouldn't do that. I'm not allowed to do that.
You see, everything that's going on right now, man has no control. Everything that's going on, I mean, with the man, the spirits, the elements of the earth, everything is to fulfill Bible prophecy. And until all the Lord's words come to fruition, man, I'm telling you straight up, can't do anything or change anything. The Lord is in control of all things. I want to read Proverbs 21:1, just so that you understand that these rulers or so-called rulers, these kings or these leaders, they're doing what the Lord wants them to do. Proverbs 21, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of the water. He turneth it whatsoever he will. So the Lord turns their heart. He makes them do whatever he will to do what? To fulfill Bible prophecy. And he said that he was going to truly take the wise men out of Edom. They don't have a choice in this. They just have to do what they're told. And the Lord, the demons do what they're told. And the demons right now are telling them what to do because the Lord is telling them. And the angels are persuading people and individuals to do certain things. So you have demons working the Bible prophecy and you got angels working it. Why? Because the Lord is Lord of all spirits.
And then the handlers come in and call an end to proceedings. Have a look.
Everybody thought anything would go.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took control. I shouldn't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. Go ahead. You
I
tell
think we're
me.
going to go ahead and have the rest of the conversation post-press. And thank you all so much.
It's reasonable to ask at this stage just who is running the country.
Oh, now as you see, and it's obvious that the wise men have been taken out of Edom, at least in this hemisphere. And what's going on is Revelation 13 is playing out right now. So I'm going to read Revelation 13:4. It says that people worship the dragon because he had given authority to the beast. And they also worship the beast and ask, who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it? Now, when you go to Revelation, I believe it's 17:9-11, you learn that the Antichrist is the 8th head of the Vatican, who is also a king. Now, the Pope was never king until the start of what you call prophetic generation, when the Lateran Treaty with Italy was signed in 1939. Now, from that time forward, the popes, that is, have also been kings. Not saying kings in name, but they're the sovereign. They're sovereign, what you call sovereign over their own country or own area, such as like the Vatican, Delaware. And then when you go into Washington, whenever you see the obelisk up. Now, when you read Revelation 17:9, and here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Now, the woman they're talking about is Rome. The city of Rome sits on 7 mountains. You'll learn that Remus and Romulus built Rome on 7 mountains. Now, Rome is a power structure that was enacted a long time ago, and these are the ones who basically are the head of the snake of this beast system. And right now, this system is being attacked by the Lord, because all these nations that have borrowed and trade and dealt with the head of the snake, because we know when monies are traded, when 70% of the money leaves us, it goes to Rome. They say about, I guess, 20% goes to Britain and the rest is trickled through America. So all roads lead to Rome. As I said, Remus, who died, Romulus, his brother, built Rome on 7 hills, which is called the city of Vasilia, or the goddess of death. So everything that's going on is our God is attacking their gods right now. And the God that they worship on earth, because all nations and all these presidents go before them and they bow down, they have to meet them whenever they take office or they're in power. Why? Because they are what I would call the dragon, and they give power to the beast system, which is this global system. That's why the scriptures tell you that Satan dwells where? In Rome. So something that we got to understand right now is that the people in power right now, the main ones who are in real power, the dragon themselves, they worship gods of forces. I'm going to read Daniel 11:38. But in his estate shall he honor the gods of forces, and a God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver, and with precious stones, and with pleasant things. We got to understand that the Pope is a Jesuit Pope. This is who he is. This makes all the difference in the world, and I'm going to tell you why.
A sign from God. Just hours after the Pope announced his surprise resignation, the heavens over Rome opened, and the top of St. Peter's Basilica was struck by lightning. As the sky was lit up by the huge bolt, it led to speculation as to whether Benedict XVI's boss was less than happy with the news.
This is why. The Jesuits are a military order. They're not a religious order. They are scheming, they're conniving, and they've been doing this all through history. They are the mystery of iniquity. Now, one thing I want you to understand too is that they proliferate evil, and their purpose is to start wars, to cause bloodshed, and to take peace and replace it with chaos. Now, this is supposed to push people to what they call desperation. And what it does is manipulates them to reach out instead of to Yeshua and call on the Holy Spirit. It causes them to reach out to churches and institutions and buildings and men. And no one is grabbing hold to the main one they should be grabbing hold to in prayer and supplication. And that is Yeshua and Yahuwah. Because right now in this day, His blood is what covers you. No longer that blood on the doorpost, on hyssop, putting on it and letting the angel of death pass by. You got to have him inside of you. That's why he says you need no man teach you. The anointing that's in you teaches you all things. And most people have no understanding of what's going on right now. And that's why this world, as we see it, the famine, the earthquakes, the pestilence, is all going through it right now. Because the leaders of this world are puppets. They're puppeteers. The politicians, the so-called musicians, the so-called religious leaders, they're puppets. And that's why the Lord is coming back to cleanse this land. And this land that you live in, the land of America, I truly believe is the land of Canaan when I read these scriptures and I start reading all the old history books of what they call America, ancient Egypt. This place was also called what you would say, it was called Ethiopia. It was called Egypt, and it was also called Atlantis. So the Lord is exposing everything right now, and there is no stone that's not being unturned.
From satellite image, it shows clearly that the Euphrates River is extremely drying up. The Euphrates River is the longest and the most important river in the Middle East. Originating in Turkey, the Euphrates flows through Syria and Iraq to join the Tigris in the Shat al-Arab, which empties into the Persian Gulf. Since the last 2 decades, the Euphrates is continuously drying up. Strangled by the water policies of Iraq's neighbors, Turkey and Syria, 3 years severe drought, and years of misuse by Iraq and its farmers, the river is significantly smaller than it was just a few years ago. Some officials worry that it could soon be a country with no river. The shrinking of the Euphrates, a river so crucial to the birth of civilization that the book of Revelation prophesied its drying up as a sign of the end times, has decimated farms along its banks, has left fishermen impoverished and has depleted riverside towns as farmers flee to the cities looking for work. Though it once was susceptible to regional flooding, numerous dams have been built along the Euphrates in the past 50 years which now regulate its water flow. The drying up of Euphrates, Syria's longest river, is raising concerns as the demise of the water body could lead to a humanitarian disaster in the country. Iraq is battling its worst drought in decades. Lack of rainfall and poor resource management has left communities that depend on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers devoid of the water they need to survive. In Islam, some of the hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad suggest that the Euphrates will dry up, revealing unknown treasures that will be the cause of strife and war. The drying up of Euphrates River also raised concern among Christian community. In the Holy Bible, Revelation chapter 16 verse 12 says, "And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared." The drying up of Middle East is not a prophecy anymore. It is not a prediction. It is a fact that is happening. 5 largest lakes in the Middle East are already drying up.
Seeing that right now on this earth, everything that Christ talked about in Matthew 24 and 33 is coming to fruition. Matthew 24 and 33 says, "So likewise, yea, when you see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Amen, I say unto you, this nation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my world should not pass away. But of the day and the hour no man knows, no, not even the angels of heaven, but only my Father. But as in the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Adam be. For as in the days that were before the floods, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day of Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Adam be. Then shall 2 be in the field, and one be taken, and the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour our Adonai comes."
That there's racial disparities here. When there was a drug issue in the African American community, we were prosecuted, we were put in jail, children were put in foster care, families were ripped apart. It was treated like a criminal justice issue. We had Rockefeller drug laws. Our jails were filled with men and women that look just like me. Now we have an opiate issue. It is affecting another demographic. Now it is a health issue. And now we have to put money into diverting individuals from prison into treatment. And so what is missing from this package is a restorative justice package for all those individuals that were jailed, and for all those families that were ripped apart, and for the individuals who have criminal records because they had addiction. Speaker, that
folks, I want you to truly get this. This whole world has been fooled into thinking that certain people are the real Jews or Israelites, and they're not. And so by the whole world being deceived, that's why everyone is going through what we call living hell. There's a flood of darkness on this earth. I'm going to read Enoch 102, and it explains that video that you just saw of the lady explaining exactly the circumstances that we go through, so-called African Americans, Negro, black, colored, everything but Israel. We are Christ's brethren. I'm going to read Enoch 102. And this was Enoch was saying to his people, those who exercise dominion over us, who detest and who goad us, and those who hate us, have we humbled our necks, but they have shown no compassion towards us, and we have been desirous of escaping from them, that we might fly away and be at rest. But we have found no place which we can fly, and to be secure from them. We have sought an asylum with princes in our distress, and have cried out to those who are devouring us, but our cry has not been regarded, nor have they been disposed to hear our voice. 14. But rather to assist those who plunder and devour us, those who diminish us and hide their oppression, and remove not their yoke from us, but devour and inveterate, or to weaken, or to destroy, and to slay us, who conceal our slaughter, nor remember that they have lifted up their hands against us. And this is why when you see so much done in our communities, it's whitewashed or it's covered up. But yet we don't have to worry about it, because our God, who is a living God, the God of Israel, he says in Ezekiel 38 and 39 that he's going to come and he's going to fight for his people, and he's going to gather them in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And when he gets them there, he's going to plead with all nations for his people. Why? For his holy name and his children. You see, Israel, we are those children. And we just people who've been lost because we've been taught all the wrong things. But it's not about where you were, it's about where you're going. And the biggest thing is to start taking small steps. You got to start getting the book, the Holy Scriptures. Start reading these words as I'm reading to you to explain exactly what's going on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you a clip real quick from one of the individuals who helped run the world of this system, and he was fed by the beast. And when he realized that his money couldn't save him, and that, maybe I sold my soul, you understand, or maybe I traded a sunrise for a sunset. And these are some of the things he had to say. So I'm going to let you hear it strictly from one of their children themselves.
Steve Jobs dies a billionaire, with a fortune of $7 billion, at the age of 56 from pancreatic cancer, and here are some of his last words. At this moment, lying on the bed, sick and remembering all my life, I realize that all my recognition and wealth that I have is meaningless in the face of imminent death. You can hire someone to drive a car for you, make money for you, but you cannot rent someone to carry the disease for you. As we get older, we are smarter, and we slowly realize that the watch is worth $30 or $300, both of which show the same time. Whether we drive a car worth $150,000 or a car worth $2,000, the road and distance are the same. We reach the same destination. If we drink a bottle worth $300 or wine worth $10, we're drunk. 5 undeniable facts. Do not educate your children to be rich. Educate them to be happy. So when they grow up, they will know the value of things, not the price. Eat your food as medicine, otherwise you will need to eat your medicine as food. Whoever loves you will never leave you, even if he or she has 100 reasons to give up. They will always find one reason to hold on. There is a big difference between being human and human being. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
I'm going to go ahead and read Joel 3. For behold, in those days and in that time I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. I have parted my land, and they have cast lots for people, and they have given the boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Philistine? Will you render me a recompense? So the Lord is saying right here at this moment that he's going to gather all militaries, and he's doing it with Gog, Magog, Moab, Russia, Iran, China. He's gathered them right now, and he's bringing them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And if you don't know what that is, that's by the Mount of Olives, which is by Jerusalem. And when he gathers them there, that's when the chariots is going to come down. He's going to plead for us. And so right now, he's putting the birthing pains on everybody on this earth. And that's why all these nations, if you notice in Pakistan, the floods were so bad that it killed 1,300 some people. And those are the numbers that they just know about, but it's many more. And if you go into California with the fires and with the floods, a lot of these people are gone. And what they don't do is give you true numbers. The only time you get true numbers is when Israel is killed. But whenever Edom or Esau or any of these other nations, their people are killed off by what they call Mother Nature or natural disasters, you understand, they fudge the numbers. But it doesn't matter, because the Lord said he's taking the wicked off of the earth. And right now, you're seeing the wheat separated from the tare. The biggest thing right now for us to do is to get right with the Lord. Because everything that you're seeing, everything that you're feeling inside, and so many people are feeling a calling from the Lord. And then they go to these pastors, or they go to these deacons, or they go to these elders at these churches, or they go to rabbis or ministers. All these people, and none of these people, you understand, are walking with the Lord. If so, they wouldn't be tickling your ears. They'd be telling you the truth, that the end is coming any minute. They keep you out of these places where they're demanding tithes, when tithes are only for the priests. They'll have it where they're not having you worshiping on Sundays, when Sunday is sacramental worship. They'll have it where they're telling you that there's a holy people. And in Revelation 7, it says that these people are going to be gathered from the four corners of the earth. These people, if they were truly God's children, would not separate the truth, you understand, from what they would call a lie. Instead, they blend them together. So the truth sets you free. And so that's why I'm giving you scriptures and showing you a video to show you that what's written is happening right now. The biggest thing for us to do, and the only thing for us to do, is to get our spirit right with the Messiah. The written law was just a schoolmaster to tell us how we should be. Christ walked on this scene and showed us how we should be doing things spiritually. And right now, everybody on this earth should be really striving, because they can see what's going on around them and know if they don't have their lamps full, because Christ is the oil. You must be filled with him. And that's when that light, that bright light, as he said, Israel is a nation of kings and priests. We're royalty. We're royal priesthood. And what does it matter if we boast about us being royalty and then we're rude to everybody else, or we're racist because their color or their religion? Because we got to understand, when you truly walk with the Lord, you know ain't nobody perfect. We all fall short. And for you to point at one person or another and say they're not getting the kingdom, that's above your pay grade. That's why the scriptures clearly say, judge ye not, or you're going to be judged the way you judge. The biggest thing we need to do is make sure that we get ourselves right. If a man has a stick in his eye, and yet he's talking about the board in someone else's eye, who is this man? Does he truly even know himself? First of all, he has to actually get that board out of his eye, because the other person has a stick and he has the board. His eyes are the one that are fully closed, but he can't see it because he's focusing on someone else. We have to focus on ourselves so that we can take the board out of our eye, so we can tell the other person about the stick that's in their eye. I love you, and I just wanted to give you this lesson to just show you what's going on in the earth. And I'm going to do a little bit more in-depth lessons. I stepped away for a minute because I had so much going on in life, but the Lord said, feed my sheep, feed my sheep. And right now, I'm just trying to show you that there's a lot of puppeteering going on, and we are the lost sheep, not just Israel, but also all of the handmaids and servants, these other nations, those who love Christ. And we got to understand that we got to take pride and envy away and know that right now the Lord's hand is on this earth and he wants his ministers to tell the truth. He doesn't want people to be prideful, lustful. He doesn't want people to sit here and do things because they feel as though they're trying to please others. We have to please the Most High. And when we please the Most High, that's when we know we're walking with our lamps full. I love you. And by all means, have a very, very blessed day.